So we can connect with our bandhas, the internal locks, the root lock, the abdominal lock, our throat lock. Finding our active breath, closing the mouth, breathing in and out through our nose. So when you're ready here, you can begin to collect your legs, giving yourself a nice little hug. Finding some space in our back. Maybe even guiding our breath into our back. Moving the hands between our legs and our thighs, just grabbing our thighs as we start to walk the feet out in front of us. So using the bandhas to try to find some length. So we're beginning to feel a bit of a stretch in the back of our thighs and the back of our legs. Moving forwards into this seated forward fold or Paschimottanasana. And one final breath here. On the exhale, we begin to release the hands coming up to sitting, clasping the hands in front of us, palms together. And then we're going to start to just make some circles here in the hands and wrists, get some motion going on, some activity. Okay, shaking them out a little bit. So grabbing the one hand on the other one, just giving yourself a little massage here, increasing the blood flow, moving down in your forearm. And changing hands. Okay, shaking them out one more time. Our hands are coming behind us, so maybe just the fingertips out to the side or towards our seat, pressing down, opening the heart and chest upwards. A little bit of activity in the legs here in front of us. So pulling the shoulder blades together. If you feel like exploring the pose, leaning a bit side to side, back and forth, doing some yes and no movements with the head, you go ahead and do that. A slight bend in the arms here, releasing the chest, our feet coming to the floor, pressing down and coming into just a real gentle reverse tabletop. So just a little bit more weight into the hands, lifting our seat, keep rotating the biceps forwards, open your heart and chest, and maybe exploring the weight a little bit back and forth, side to side here. So getting a bit of strength in the arms and the shoulders. All right, coming back here to sitting. You're gonna grab one foot. Now I like to do the opposite, hand and foot here, and then straightening out, just to find a bit of a stretch behind my shoulders. But if you feel like you wanna do the same foot as the hand, then you can go ahead and do that. I just feel there's a bit more focus and attention between the shoulder blades. So just push the hand away, keep rotating the biceps up, and then you can just explore here. So moving all around the foot a little bit higher up, further down, maybe a little bit from side to side. Okay, coming down here, dropping the foot either on the inside or the outside. Find some length in your spine, grabbing a hold, and then finding our spinal twist. On the next exhale, begin to release, coming out of the pose and changing feet. So grabbing here the opposite foot and the opposite hand of what we had before. So find the pose opening up between your shoulder. So really using this foot, controlling, listening behind your shoulders here to open up and be stretching all of these little muscles. So you're almost like massaging these muscles here in the back. And releasing down, finding the twist. So foot either on the inside or the outside. Find some length, grabbing the opposite hand, and then coming into the twist. The bandhas are still active, finding this deep breath. On your next exhale, begin to release the pose, coming into a long modified Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So keeping the soles of the feet together in front of us here, finding some length. So maybe you just want to sit here or start to walk the hands over in front of us. And if you have a block or something available, or a book or a little stool, something to support yourself with, then feel free to use that throughout the class when you want to. Maybe you have this down underneath you to rest your forehead, to relax a little bit the head and shoulders here. One last breath. On the exhale, begin to come up. We're going to roll over the legs or swing them out to the side to come into our modified plank. So from all fours, knees down, pressing the top of the feet, we're going to send the weight forwards into the hands. Finding the placement, so pushing down, rotating the biceps forwards. Remember, don't overstretch the elbows. Pulling the shoulders away, in with the stomach and the ribs to find that long lower back. And then here, leaning the weight a little bit from side to side in the hands, just finding a little bit more activity. Very nice, guys. So gently here, moving into a modified upward facing dog. So we're gonna drop the hips a little bit down, keeping the biceps forwards, pushing away, and start activating the legs behind us. So pressing down into the tops of the feet, activating the thighs, your glutes. You find this long spine. On the next exhale, begin coming back up to our plank. So either here modified, or if you feel like you're ready for it, go up on the balls and then come up into our full plank. Leaning forwards, finding those active arms, maybe leaning from side to side. Deep breaths. On the next exhale, dropping the hips down, finding this upward facing dog. So opening the heart and chest, pressing down, deep breaths. Maybe going a bit deeper here as well. Pulling the shoulder blades together, pushing down. Very nice, yogis. Dropping the knees, coming back to sitting on our legs, shaking out the hands for a moment. And then making our way up to downward facing dog. So in Adho Mukha Svanasana, we're going to spend a few breaths. So being aware of the body, what it needs here, and just exploring the pose. So as long as there's no pain in the body, nothing is uncomfortable, then there's no right or wrong here. Very nice, everyone. On your next inhale, you're going to gaze forward and find some length in the body, pressing into the hands. Maybe lifting the heels. On the exhale, bending both of the knees. And we're going to begin to walk forwards to our hands. So rolling through the feet, spreading the toes. Until we come forward to our standing forward fold, we're going to hang over here for a little bit, taking some deep breaths. Again, exploring the pose if you feel like it. Maybe folding the arms and twisting from side to side. One final breath, coming back, dropping the hands. On your inhale, finding this flat back, this halfway lift, keeping the knees bent. On the exhale, folding over. And on the next inhale, we're going to come all the way up to standing. Sending the arms out to the side, the furthest way up. And on the exhale, coming to our mountain pose, Tadasana. 2 breaths here. Just opening the body, finding the balance, standing on the feet, the activation, pushing down. Remember, it's called mountain pose for a reason. Not relaxing pose, not chilling pose, not hanging out pose, but boom, active. Pressing down into the feet, sending the top of the head upwards towards the sky. On our next inhale, we're gonna send the fingers out and up towards the ceiling. Maybe pressing the hands together, keeping them apart, yogi's choice. You might also bring the fingers together, point, and then send even further up. So pressing down, finding as much length upwards as we can. We're gonna start to open the gaze and the heart towards the ceiling. So pressing into the feet, active thighs, active glutes. Releasing a little bit in the front body to come deeper into the back bend, opening the heart. And on your next exhale, releasing, coming back to mountain pose. On the next inhale, coming back up again, finding the same position with the hands. Find this length upwards, and we're gonna just gently lean over to the left, opening up the right side body. Maybe pushing the hips out to the side as well. Contact with the feet the whole time here. One more breath in. And begin to release the pose. Find some more length up on the inhale and exhale, opposite side. So first you're leaning, and then you can start to push the hips out to the side. 2. And 3. Begin releasing the pose. Find some more length up. And on the exhale, coming down with the hands. Folding behind us. Clasping, straightening, open the heart and chest, shoulder blades together. So staying here for a moment. If you feel like it, you can also grab your forearms or your elbows if that feels better. So keeping the arms where you have them. On the next exhale, we're going to come forwards to Uttanasana. So think of leading with the hands or folding forwards in the hips. So opening the front of the shoulders, the chest, bringing the shoulder blades together, dropping the hands even more down towards the floor. Maybe having a slight bend in your knees if that feels nice. Think of having a long spine here, dropping the top of the head down towards the floor. On your next exhale, releasing the fingers, walking the feet heel toe out to the side for our yogi squat or balasana. So knees and toes pointing out to the side as we begin to drop the hips towards the floor. So maybe we don't get so far, maybe we're sitting further up, maybe the heels are lifted, that's fine. Maybe you have your hands on the floor the whole time. But if it's available, we're sinking further and further down. And here, not just relaxing, releasing into the pose, but full contact with the foot, the toes press down. Using the seat to rotate, the knees pointing in the same direction as the toes. Hands can help push out to the side, finding that length. Pulling the abdominals in with your ribs. Shoulders away, opening your heart. Deep breaths. And then opening up to the one side here, twisting towards the knee, feel free, pressing in the arm and the hand to open the inside of the thighs. Maybe going into the full twist, so wrapping the hand around, if you feel like it. So we can wrap around or the hands. On the next exhale, releasing the pose and changing sides. So opening up, pressing here, or coming deeper in to find the binding. And if you're binding, then you're pulling the shoulder blades together, the shoulders away, really opening the heart. Keep contact with your feet on the floor. Last breath, we're going to release the pose, and from here just come down to sitting and then laying down on our mats. Finding a nice modified bridge pose. So pressing the feet down, knees pointing up, arms along the side, and then we're going to start to press the hips upwards. So just being a little bit gentle here, feel free to explore the pose as well, leaning a little bit from side to side, maybe lifting and lowering the hips just a little bit. Find this breath, this activation, exploring the activation in the thighs, your glutes, and your back. On the exhale, begin to release, rolling through the spine, coming back down again. Grabbing the legs, giving yourself a little hug, massaging the back into the mat. So very carefully here, we're going to enter our modified plow pose, halasana. So pressing the hands down, we're going to lift the back and the hips up. So maybe we just stay here. Find some length in the hips upwards towards the sky, and then maybe start bringing the feet down over the head. So feel free to keep the knees bent here, finding some length, being very careful with your back. We might not be quite warm enough to go into the full version. So we're just doing a modified here to open up a little bit and find some length. Noticing the reactions in the body, how intense it is for the back. Remembering here, ahimsa, and being nice and kind to yourself. So don't go too far in here. But releasing, opening up, allowing ourselves to be in the pose. Begin to release and roll down when you're ready. So straightening the arms over our head, finding some length through the fingers, using the abdominal muscles to gently roll down. And dropping the feet to the mat. Taking a little moment here, 2 breaths, releasing, relaxing. And we're going to find our spinal twist. So with the feet on the ground, the knees pointing up, we're going to drop the knees to one side, maybe collect the inside of the thighs, straightening out the opposite arm out from your shoulder. And then we can gaze over that opposite hand as well. Okay, very nice, yogis. Pulling the stomach in, bringing the knees up, and then changing sides. On the exhale, begin releasing, coming back up again. One more time, sit the Bandhasana bridge pose, but finding the full expression here. So pressing the feet down, knees up, arms to the side, and then we're gonna lift the hips even further up. From here, clasping the hands underneath us, keeping the palms together, walking the shoulder blades, and then straightening out the arms. Being careful here that we're not pressing so much in the hands that we're overextending the elbows. So find that length out through your hands. Pressing into the feet, the hips even further up. Think of opening your heart, deep breaths. Sending the breath into your chest. 3, 2 more. 4. And 5. On the exhale, releasing the hands, rolling through the spine, 1 vertebrae at a time, coming all the way down. 2 breaths here, just a little break, maybe shaking the hips a little bit from side to side. Relaxing the face, around the eyes, your jaw, deep breath. So we're going to grab our legs and then use these and our stomach to help roll up to sitting. So maybe you need 1 or 2 rolls to come up here. Rolling over the legs, coming back to our plank. Remember here, full version or modified with the knees down, yogi's choice. On your next exhale, we'll begin to lower down into our low plank, chaturanga. On the inhale, coming up to upward facing dog. And on the exhale, finding our down dog. 2 breaths here, finding a nice strong pose. Very nice, yogis. When you're ready, finding our Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana or 3-legged dog, really pressing down in the hands, rotating the biceps forwards, and then lifting the right leg up towards the sky. Holding here, sending that length out through both of our heels. And dropping the foot down, preparing here, 1 breath in between, and finding the left leg. Breathing in, lifting up, and hold. And breathing out, coming back down again. Changing sides, 1 breath in between. When you're ready, lifting the right leg up, and hold. This time stacking the hips, so opening the right hip on top of the left. When you're ready from here, entering scorpion leg, so bending the knee. We're pulling the heel in towards our glutes as we're sending the knee up towards the roof. Really pressing into the hands, rotating both armpits down. Finding a long neck, dropping the head. Last breath. Breathing in, straightening out the leg and the hips and bringing it down. Changing sides. Lifting the opposite leg up. Opening the hips. Keep finding that length out through the heels. And then your scorpion leg. Bending, opening up, pulling the heel in, pushing the knee up towards the sky. Very nice, yogis. On your next breath, we're going to begin to straighten out. Hips back, lowering the leg. Bending the knees, coming down into child's pose, balasana for a little break. Resting the hands and the wrists. One final breath here. And making our way back up again to downward facing dog. Okay, 3-legged dog. Right leg is coming up 1 more time. Just straight up and hold. On the exhale, we're coming forwards to a high plank, tiger curl, knee to chest. Pulling that heel in towards your seat. Creating space underneath us between our hands, dropping the foot down, and then dropping the back knee. Finding a stretch in the front of our thighs, we're pulling ourselves forwards, length out through the spine. Staying here. 2. And 3. Connecting with the breath, finding our twists. So the opposite hand as the foot down, twisting towards the knee that's bent, and then maybe going deeper, straightening the arm up, maybe even lifting the back knee. Deep breath. And 2. And 3. Transitioning into our side plank, dropping the back knee, rotating the ball of the foot out to the side, and then opening up the side body. Feel free to stay here or go a little bit deeper so we can straighten the arm forwards, really opening the side body, maybe straightening the bottom leg as well to make it a little bit more challenging for the standing arm. 2. And 3. On the exhale, coming back to our plank. I forgot what we were going to do for a second. Bringing the same leg forwards again, 1 more time. Finding our modified warrior 1. So transitioning the weight into the legs, coming up with the upper body and our arms, breathing in, raising them up over the head. So same as before, either a little bit of distance between the hands or bringing the hands together and maybe finding our pistol grip. So length up, in with the ribs, pulling ourselves even deeper forwards, finding that stretch in the front of our thigh. And from here, begin to open the gaze up towards the ceiling. And then our heart, finding this deeper back bend, really exploring here. Opening, opening, opening. So holding here, if you have the balance, pressing down into the feet, try to lift your back knee and find more length out through your heel, going deeper and deeper into the pose. 2. and 3. Coming back up with the gaze and the arms, preparing for our warrior 2. So we're going to open up the back leg. The toes are pointing towards the side of the mat, and then pulling the arms down. Maybe going slightly deeper into the pose, engaging the stomach, the seat, keep the knees pointing the same direction, setting the fingertips out and gazing over the front hand. Pressing all the toes down into the mat. Final breath. Straightening the front knee for our triangle pose. You might want to just make the pose a little bit smaller or keep those wide lengths to make it even more challenging for your thighs. So leaning forwards, sending the hips backwards. We're going to support on our thigh, the leg. Maybe if you have a block, then you can have the block on the ground and sending the other arm up. So the top of your head should be pointing towards the top of the mat. Pulling the abdominals in, finding that long lower spine. Spreading your shoulder blades. Final breath. Breathing out and looking down. Find our balance, pressing into the legs. Use the hand that's above us to help us come back up again to standing. And finding our reverse triangle. So here, length through the fingertips and opening up the opposite side. Being careful not to support and press into our knee, so rather support on your thigh if you need to, but if you can, see if you can not. So then we're finding this length out through the fingers continuously here. In with the abdominals, in with the ribs. Active legs really pushing into the feet. One final breath. And on the exhale, finding our little vinyasa flow back to down dog. So circling the arms down to our plank, high plank. On the exhale, low plank, coming all the way down. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing. A couple of breaths here before we change sides. Okay, very nice, yogis. Final breath. Preparing for 3-legged dog. So on the inhale, our left leg is coming up. Or the other leg, the opposite leg that we had the first time. On the exhale, coming forwards, tiger curl. Creating some space, pressing down, lifting up the leg and hold. Placing it between the hands, dropping the back knee, pulling ourselves forward, stretching the front of our thigh. Lengthen the spine. More weight in the legs. Pulling this heel towards you. In with the stomach, pressing into the hips. Final breath. And finding our twist, so the hand is coming down, opening up the heart towards the knee that's bent. Remember, pressing into the standing hand and the feet. Rotating both biceps forward, spreading your shoulder blades. The top hand is pulling you up towards the sky, long neck, chin a little bit in towards your chest. Final breath. From here, transitioning into the side planks, the back foot rotating out to the side, adjusting what you have to, and opening up here. So staying in this pose or continuing into the variation. Sending the top hand further forwards, the palm is facing down, opening the side body, maybe even lifting up the back leg or the knee that's underneath us. Final breath here. Coming back to our plank position. Same leg that we had forward, the left, we'll bring it forwards between the hands one more time, dropping the back knee. Finding this modified warrior 1. So shifting the weight, pulling forwards into the legs. When we're ready, breathing in, sending the arms up. Pressing the hands, keep pulling ourselves forward. And then start to gaze up towards the roof. Keep breathing. The bandhas are on. Opening the heart more and more, exploring this back bend, going deeper. Find that length through the top of your head, pressing into the feet. And when you're ready here, see if you can lift the back knee and straighten out the leg. More and more and more. And hold. 2. Deep breaths. And 3. Coming up with the head and the heart, preparing the back leg for warrior 2, opening up and then pulling down. So use the side bodies to pull the arms down and then length out to the fingertips. Deep breaths. Final breath. On the exhale, pressing into the feet, coming up to our triangle pose, leaning out to the side, sending the hips backwards, and then opening up the side body. So either gazing down towards the floor, the side of the wall, or up towards the ceiling. Keep rotating the biceps forward, spreading those shoulder blades. So the lower hand is pulling us down towards the floor, the top hand pulling us up towards the sky, and our head is pulling us forwards. Final breath. Gazing down, finding the balance, pressing into the feet and toes to come up, and finding our reverse triangle. So maybe leaning a little bit forwards here to open up even more, length out to the fingertips. Remember, don't support on the outside of your knee, so your thigh, or just sending the fingertips out, 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 and going deeper and deeper into the pose. 2. And 3. On the next exhale, finding this little vinyasa, so flowing the hands forwards, high plank, finding the control, lowering down to our chaturanga, breathing in upward dog, and breathing out downward dog. Okay, very nice, yogis. Breathing in, gazing forwards, finding some length. On the exhale, bending the knees, hop, jump, or flow forwards to your hands. Shifting the weight into the feet, Uttanasana. Breathe in, find some length here. And on the exhale, folding over. Next inhale, all the way up to standing. Upward salute, breathing out, mountain pose. Opening up the hands. Okay, taking a moment here, shaking out the body if you need to. So we're moving into a little bit of a balance part. So coming to the front of your mats, spreading the toes, pressing down, feeling the roots spreading out in every direction. Active thighs, hips underneath us, in with the stomach. The bandha's length, the chin, opening the hands, maybe bringing them to your hips or in front of your heart. Shifting the weight into the left foot, freeing the right. So working into our tree pose, Vriksasana. So maybe we're just here working today, or we come up and have the foot on the inside of the ankle, the leg, or maybe the thigh. Pressing the foot into the thigh, pressing the hip into the foot. So active inside of your thigh, using your seat to pull your knee out. Deep breaths. If you feel like continuing here, maybe straightening the arms up or opening up those branches, and then maybe finding that little back bend that we've been working on in the class. Opening up the heart, maybe swaying a little bit here in the wind. Last breath. We're going to begin to come up with the arms. Keep the foot where it is. The hands are coming down. Moving into our half-bound lotus. So the foot is coming to the front of the thigh or the hip, if it's available for us. We're grabbing with the opposite hand, the toes, flexing the toes into the fingers here. And then we're going to use our seat to pull the knee down. The opposite hand is coming back, wrapping behind us, and then grabbing our elbow. So here, pulling the shoulder blades together, opening the heart, length in the spine, pulling this knee backwards. Very nice, yogis. So if any of you are familiar with the full expression with folding forwards, then you can do that as well. One final breath here. We're going to find our one-legged chair pose with Utkatasana. So being careful to really flex this foot. You can move it a little bit further down on your thigh if that feels better. But we're going to begin to bend the standing leg. Maybe bring the hands in front of our heart. And we can also lengthen up towards the sky. And breathe. 2, 3, 4, and 5. From here, see if you can fold forwards to get the hands down to the floor. So So we're working on our one-legged Bakasana, one-legged crow pose. So if we can bring the hands down, bending the knees, wrapping this leg around the arm, and then we're gonna lean into the hands. So here, flexing, and then see if we can press the leg into the hands and then lifting up the back foot, even just a little bit. So here, crow, and holding. 3, 4, and 5. Gently coming back, finding our balance, shifting the weight into the foot for a one-legged chair, pressing down, and then coming back up again. Woo! So shaking out the legs. So this is really difficult for the stabilization of your whole leg, your ankle, your knee, your hips, but also building strength in all the larger muscle groups as well. So shaking them out a little bit, getting ready for the opposite side. So toes together, pressing down, finding the starting position. Maybe hands here or in front, lifting up the foot. Maybe we can find the pose without the hands, so bringing the ball of the foot in and then pressing, using the seat, opening up, and then bringing the hands together. So when you're ready, staying here, if you have the balance, straightening the arms up, maybe opening, swaying a little bit in the wind, find that control, working with the little heart opener back bend up towards the sky. 3. Very nice, yogis. Final breath. Bring the hands together, pulling them down. Moving into the next balance, bringing the foot in. Opening up the leg, grabbing the toes, elbow back, wrapping the hand around. So we're grabbing the elbow here, opening the heart and chest. Be careful not to stick the ribs out. Noticing also any tension in the knee. So really using our seat to find that external rotation. I also talk a lot about, particularly in the sitting positions, yeah? So we're really watching that knee. Okay. Final breath here, begin to release the pose, finding the one-legged chair. So maybe dropping the foot down a little bit further on the thigh, flexing the foot, watching the knee and the ankle, and begin to lower down. Watching the standing leg, that the knee is continuously pointing in the same direction as the toes, maybe straightening the arms up. 3, 4, and 5. Staying low, coming down with the hands. So maybe this modification is enough. Maybe we're just here and working on the balance. Or we go deeper, wrapping the foot around the upper arms, pressing the leg in, leaning the hands, the weight forwards, drishti, gaze as far forwards in the room, and then trying to lift the back leg. Gaze far forwards. Gently moving in, using the core for stabilization. Very nice, guys. Beautiful, Ila. 4, and 5. When you're ready, starting to come back, shift the weight into the leg, low hips, stabilizing here, careful not to push out to the side, coming back up to standing, releasing the leg, and shaking out. A couple of breaths here. Okay, very nice, guys. How's it going? Is it okay? Going good? Nice. So moving into some closing postures, just going to stretch out the body for a little bit before we finish off in Shavasana and rest. So coming to the front of our mats, mountain pose, opening up the hands. Exhale. On the next inhale, sending the arms up towards the ceiling, folding forwards on your exhale to Uttanasana. Breathing in, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the floor, walking, hopping, stepping back to our plank. And Chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale, downward facing. Lifting the right leg up to our 3-legged dog. On the exhale, coming forwards, knee to chest, tiger curl. Bringing the foot down between the hands, dropping the back knee. Pulling ourselves forwards to stretch the front of our thigh. 3 breaths here. 2, and 3. So stay here for 3 more breaths, or hand down, finding the twist, but then trying to gaze behind us, bend the back knee, and see if we can grab that foot. So the toes, the foot itself, maybe you're flexing or pointing, but then trying to rotate the biceps to the sidewall or up towards the ceiling, pulling the leg further and further in while we're dropping the hips further and further down. 1, 2, and 3. On the exhale, releasing the foot, coming back out of the twist, preparing the front leg for our pigeon pose. So laying it down underneath us, squaring off the hips, length out through the back leg, the top of your head, and then working our way over. Deep breaths. 1. Releasing any tension in the body. 2. And 3. On the exhale, begin walking the hands back up again. So you're going to stay here now. So hands roughly under the shoulders, pressing down to come up. So still keeping that stretch in the seat, but now including the front of our thigh. So pressing down, find this length. If it's available for you, the same foot as the leg can come a little bit more into the center. And then we're going to twist and then see if you can bend the knee and grab. So the same as what we just did in that lunge. Deep breaths here. 1, 2. Very nice, yogis. And 3. Releasing the foot, coming back here, pressing into the hands, and then finding our downward facing dog before changing sides. So breathing in, opposite leg is coming up, hold. Breathing out, coming forwards, tiger curl. Placing the foot between the hands, dropping the back knee, pulling ourselves forwards, finding that stretch in the front of our thigh. 1, 2, and 3. So finding the twist, hand down, opening up, trying to gaze behind us, see if you can bend that back knee and grab hold. Dropping the hips even lower. Rotating the biceps, opening the front of the chest and the shoulder. 2, and 3. On the exhale, releasing the back leg, coming out of the twist, preparing for the pigeon. So opening up the front leg, length out through the back leg. Keep those hips squared so we're not opening up to the side. Length, and then walking over. 1, 2, and 3. And coming back up again, hands under the shoulders. So stay here if this feels fine, or the hand a little bit more into the center. Press in, keep that rotation, the biceps forwards, finding the twist, and then maybe lifting the back knee and grabbing a hold. So twisting the spine, opening the heart, stretching the front of the thigh. 2, and 3. Releasing on the exhale, coming back, just swinging the front leg forwards here in front of us. Straightening out both legs for our seated forward fold or Paschimottanasana. So active, flexing the toes, breathe in, find that length. On the exhale, the longest way over, grabbing the feet or the toes. Inhale, find that length. And on the exhale, pulling ourselves forwards. Using the bandhas and the core to find that length, particularly in your lower spine. 5 breaths. 2. 4. And 5. Releasing here, coming to laying down on our back. So we're going to find this little modified plow pose that we had earlier in the class. Maybe the body and the back is ready to go a little bit deeper. So pressing the hands down, legs up. Maybe we just stay here. This is a really nice modification. Or we can lift the hips up and maybe we just stay here and supporting and then going deeper and deeper. So find that length out of the hips, walking the hands down and then dropping the knees and the legs. This time trying to keep straight legs, pressing the top of the feet down, in with the abdominals, hips up. If we can get this far, then we're going to clasp the fingers, straighten out the arms. Rotating the biceps up, bringing the shoulder blades together. Very nice, guys. 3. 4. And 5. Straightening the arms overhead, coming down the same way. So gently here, taking our time to roll down one vertebrae at a time. Excellent, yogis. Beautiful. Are you okay? Osha, is it good? Okay, yeah. Careful there that we don't land flat on the back. So soles of the feet here, knees pointing up, and then we're going to find our twists. So dropping the knees down to one side. If you have a favorite here, go ahead and enter that. Maybe straightening out both of the knees. And then opposite arm is out from your shoulder, gazing over to the side. Final breath. Releasing the pose on the exhale, coming back to center, and then changing sides. Final breath. Begin to release the pose, coming back. From here, finding our Shavasana, so any last preparations that you'd like to do, or if you're ready, just straightening out the legs, finding our corpse pose. Maybe putting on some extra clothes, or getting a blanket ready. So finding a neutral position for the body to rest. Releasing the bandhas. Releasing this active ujjayi. Moving the awareness inwards. And just listening without thinking, without judging, without resisting this moment. but letting go of control and watching it unfold. Okay, yogis, starting to gently move the body again, connecting with the breath. Maybe stretching the arms a little bit overhead, and when you're ready, you can roll over onto one of your sides. And then finding the easiest way for you to come up to a comfortable sitting position. Some length in our spine and neck, having a soft gaze or closing our eyes. And just noticing how things are feeling. Hopefully things are feeling kind of good. Taking a moment here to just acknowledge what is. How you're really feeling, how you're really doing. Going deeper and deeper, listening more intently. How are you really doing? From here, bringing the hands together in front of our hearts, taking a moment and giving ourselves a big thanks for today, for showing up, and giving ourselves this gift of yoga. Namaste. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have anything that you're wondering about or anything that you'd like to say, we can take a couple minutes here. Feel free to unmute your mics. I'm going to stop the recording here. So if anybody was watching this after today, then yeah, thanks for the practice and have a nice day.